SEC early predictions, what are we at now? This would be number 12. We've done, South Carolina was our last one. We've done everyone from Alabama all the way down to South Carolina. And now all we got left is Tennessee, Texas A&M, and then finishing off with Vanderbilt. We're almost done. I've had a blast doing these videos. It seems like you guys have loved watching them if you've watched all of these. If you haven't, there is a playlist on the channel for you to go back and watch whatever team you want to watch. Even though you're probably, if you're watching this, a Tennessee Volunteers fan, if you want to go back and watch, let's say, Florida or Georgia to see what's going on over there in their program and how they're looking this year, feel more than free to do so. If you're a college football fan like me or an SEC fan or whatever fan, you can see here, I got the Gamecocks jersey behind me. I know I also have an LSU one. I'm a big Gamecocks fan. I just like Joe Burrow, and I got the jersey, and I also got the Mike's hiding the logo there. We're just a community of SEC football fans here on this channel. We talk all sports. I try to talk all sports, but if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that SEC football is something I love and something that many of people that watch this channel is. So if you love SEC football, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button right now. Everyone, hit the like button right now, and let's get into it. Tennessee Volunteers 2021 early season predictions. Now, I don't think that it is any shock or any Tennessee fan, would be too upset with me if I were to say that last season was definitely a disappointing season, a less than expected season, where you guys start at, 15th best in the country? I'm not even going to lie. First 2.5 games of football that Tennessee played, they look like a really good football team. South Carolina, obviously that was a close game. I could talk about that game forever, but to spare this video a couple hours, I'm not going to do that. Then you go out, you play an amazing game against Missouri, and then I thought you played an amazing half against Georgia. The first half of that game, I'm pretty sure you went into the locker room tied at 21-21, but every Tennessee fan will tell you that after that point, after that half against Georgia, is when the downhill season started, and the rest from there, I think you go 1-7 the rest of your games that season, and that one win was against Vanderbilt. We'll go over each and every game. Lose to Georgia 44-21. Then you lose to Kentucky 34-7, which was Garantano's terrible game where he just threw a bunch of pick sixes in that one. You lose to Alabama 48-17. You lose to Arkansas 24-13. Your game against Texas A&M gets postponed to the end of the season. Then you go out and play Auburn. You lose 30-17. Then you go out, you lose to Florida 31-19 in a game. I watched that whole game because that was the game that Florida clinched, and covering the SEC, I felt like that was a game that I really, really needed to watch. I think that Tennessee didn't play that bad at all in that game, if I'm being completely honest. Tennessee had their chances to win that game or to make that game even closer. They just couldn't execute at times. You go out and you beat Vanderbilt, but it's Vanderbilt. You're expected to beat Vanderbilt. They're your in-state rivals, but we all know it. No Tennessee fan, if you ask any Tennessee fan, what team do you hate the most? I guarantee you most of them, or all of them, will not say Vanderbilt. You'll get some Alabamas. You'll get some Georgias, you'll get some Floridas, you'll get a mix of everything, maybe some Memphis. I don't know really if there even is a rivalry between Tennessee and Memphis. I'm just guessing because they both play in Tennessee. There could be a rivalry, there could not be. I don't know. And then you lose to Texas A&M to finish out the season 34-13. And I'm pretty sure Tennessee was set to play, was it West Virginia in the bowl game? I can't remember, but that got canceled. I remember I'm pretty sure they initially got put in a bowl game, and then they had COVID. They had to go out, and then Army stepped in for them against West Virginia. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Don't mark me on my words, but Tennessee fans, you're obviously going to know, so let me know in the comments if I'm right about that, because I'm just going straight off of memory from here. Let's take a look at the 2021 schedule for the Tennessee Volunteers and what it's going to shape out and look like for this season. You're starting off on Saturday, September 4th at Neyland Stadium against the Bowling Green Falcons. Then you stay at home. You got a 3-game stretch at home. Then you go on the 11th to play the Pitt Panthers. You go on the 18th to play Tennessee Tech. And then you go to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida to take on the Florida Gators. Then you stay away. You go to I never know how to pronounce this field name. I say Faro, whatever it is, on October the 2nd to play Missouri Tigers. Then you go back home to Knoxville to take on my South Carolina Gamecocks on Saturday, October the 9th. You stay in Rocky Top for the 16th to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. Then you go to Bryant-Denny Stadium on the 23rd to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. You got your bye week on October the 30th. Then you go to Kroger Field in Kentucky to take on the Kentucky Wildcats, obviously. You come back home to take on Georgia on the 13th, South Alabama on the 20th, and then you finish it off with the game on the 27th against, again, your rival, if you consider them your main rival, the Vanderbilt Commodores. And I throw this in for every single team. SEC Championship, what are the odds that Tennessee goes to the SEC Championship? I don't know. Like, that's what we're going to get into in this video. That's what we're going to talk about in this video. Who knows? Who knows? Tennessee lost a lot of players, which we're also about to get into another second, but I put that there for any team because any team has a chance to win the SEC Championship this year. I think Alabama's the clear favorite to win the SEC Championship, or at least make it out of the West. I think Georgia's the main favorite out of the East, but we still don't know. Still lots to talk about. And just going through that, seeing the name Neyland Stadium. Look, I'm from Canada. I've been to 2 college football stadiums in my life. I've been to 2 college football stadiums to see actual games. I've been outside of other ones. My first game ever was 2013 South Carolina versus Tennessee in Tennessee, Neyland Stadium. And I just want to say that was, even though South Carolina lost that game, if you remember that game, Tennessee won on a last-second field goal. Neyland Stadium is a place to be. It is an amazing place. Yeah, the fans gave me a hard time. What was I? I was some 10-year-old, 9-year-old kid. And I got walking out around the bars after the game and everything, to get to my car. I got some lip, but I guess I deserve that for wearing my South Carolina stuff. But overall, the stadium and everything, I think even though I can't stand the Rocky Top chant, ever since that day, I've had that song stuck in my head. I kid you not. You'll find me just singing it sometimes just because of that one time I went to Tennessee to see South Carolina play. That's just how mind-consuming that game was. So I think Tennessee's a great place to play. I'm not going to say I don't like Tennessee at all. I think that Tennessee's my second least favorite team in all the SEC. But in terms of a stadium standpoint and a fan base standpoint, even though I'm not a big fan of your fan base, you guys got a pretty good thing down there in Tennessee, even though your football program's not doing that well. And one thing to attribute to that on why the football team isn't doing that well, if we take a look into 24/7's transfer portal rankings and look at the top players to transfer this season and where they landed, you look at 3, you look at number 4, you look at 7, and you look at 9, and they all have one thing in common. And that one thing is that they all are transferring out of the University of Tennessee. You got Henry To'oTo'o going to we don't know yet. You got Eric Gray, running back Eric Gray, who was probably the most electric player for Tennessee last season. Again, I only watched certain games, but during those certain games that I did watch, Eric Gray seems like a guy that the fan base loves, and he seems like a real talented player for them. You go out, you got, Wanya Morris, OT, transferring to Oklahoma along with Eric Gray. And then last, going to Oklahoma as well, Key Lawrence, safety. Lincoln Riley just went in there and swept that. Maybe To'oTo'o goes to Oklahoma. I don't know yet. I don't know where his crystal ball is, where he's supposed to go. I don't look that much into him, but because he's a Tennessee player. But you lose 4 guys there. You lose some guys going to the draft. You also lost Jarrett Garantano. Now, I know all Tennessee fans are probably on their hands and knees and so thankful because they lost Garantano because he transferred out. I don't even know where he went. I don't even think Tennessee fans care about where he went. They just wanted him out of Tennessee. So he's gone. You got Josh Palmer gone, who's also a Canadian like me, so I love Josh Palmer. He's gone due to the draft and everything. You're losing some good guys. You're losing some real, real good players for Tennessee this season. You're also losing Trey Smith on the offensive line. And Bryce Thompson. I forgot those guys too. So Tennessee is losing a lot of guys. They're losing a lot of talent, and not because of the draft. Most of the guys that they're losing, most of their main talent that they're losing is due to the transfer portal and just the inconsistency and the underdevelopment, whatever you want to call it, that the Tennessee football program has been for the last couple of years. Because I was high on Tennessee last season. I'm not going to lie. I thought Tennessee was going to be a great team last season. They started out the season 15th. Yes, that is with a, you're missing the Pac-12 and you're missing the Big Ten early on in that AP poll. But even if you had those teams, I'm not saying that they'd be 15. I think they'd still be in the AP top 25 to start off the season. Their recruiting classes that they'd pulled in the last couple of years have been very, very good. Just the development hasn't been there, and that's hurt you big time. Looking at their starting lineup this season, I'm guessing you're going to see Harrison Bailey in at quarterback. You might see Brian Maurer in 2. I have no idea yet. I'm going to guess it's Harrison Bailey. The quarterback situation at Tennessee has been a bit horrific, and it's been a bit of a nightmare the last couple of years. So I'm guessing it's going to be Harrison Bailey. He's going to be the guy. You're going to have Smallin at running back. He's who I think is going to be the replacement for Eric Gray. Again, it's up in the air right now. You also have, who do you have? Let me go into the recruiting class. You have Tyon Evans, third best guy from JUCO coming out, running back, coming into Tennessee. You could see him getting his fair share of snaps or rushes, whatever you want to call them, for Tennessee this upcoming season. You're going to have Jones Jr., Tillman, and Callaway in at the wide receiver position. Again, you're losing Josh Palmer. Sorry. I got Josh Palmer and Trey Smith messed up there. But you got him, especially if you're going to have a guy like Harrison Bailey at quarterback. You need guys to step up and catch the ball, because Harrison Bailey isn't going to make the most accurate of throws ever. So those guys are really going to be tested this season. You look on the defense, I think like linebacker, there's going to be holes. Obviously, you're losing Toto, and I also forgot to mention that you're losing Crouch. Banks is a guy that's definitely going to have to step up. Jeremy Banks at the linebacker position. He's going to be huge. But I look at this secondary and everything. Like, I got Harrison Jr., Burrell Jr., Flowers Sr., McCullough Jr., George Jr., Sr. You got a lot of experience in your secondary. And also on your D-line, I see no freshmen or sophomores right now on this depth chart for Tennessee on the line or in the secondary. It's mostly seniors and juniors. I don't even see a sophomore anywhere on this defense in the main first string depth chart guys. So you got tons of experience on this Tennessee defense. Can they step up? Can they fill the holes of the guys that they lost last year? Can they use that experience? Now, it might not be playing experience in actual games, because again, you did lose a ton of guys who were main guys on your defense, but you got guys who have been around the program a long time. How are they going to step up and going to be able to perform for this program? Looking at the recruiting class, I already got into a bit. Tennessee finished 7th in the 2021 recruiting class in the SEC. I think that that's actually pretty good for how bad Tennessee did last season. To be in the top 7 still, even though Tennessee holds that standard that they should always be in the top half of SEC recruiting, I think that this was a pretty good class for them. You look at some of their main guys, Aaron Wills, inside linebacker, 8th best in the country for inside linebackers. Then you got Salter, 6th best dual threat quarterback. And then you got Merrill, wide receiver, 58th best in his position. Those are some of the main guys. I think you got around 7 4-stars in total in this class. So they pulled a good draft. They didn't get any 5-star guys this season. You got a decent amount of 3-stars, but it's a good class. South Carolina has no 4-stars, no 5-stars. I say this in every video, but honestly, our class, it hurts. Just be thankful with your 7 4-stars. Just know that it could be a lot worse than what it is. Let's get into wins, toss-ups, and losses. The most exciting part of these videos. It's where I go in and I break down where and what win confidence I have for Tennessee in each of these games. I have them broken up into categories, and please listen to what I have to say. There's so many people in the comments. I say this every video. I've been doing 12 of these videos. I know the tendencies that you guys have. You guys look at the graphic, go straight to the comments, and start typing, blah, 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 whatever. Look and listen to what I have to say. I broke it down by percentages. 100% to 75% is how much win confidence I'd have in Tennessee for it to be a win. 74 to 26 is how much confidence I'd have in Tennessee for me to say, it's a toss-up game. And then losses, 25 or under percent win confidence in Tennessee. I'm going to put them in there, but I'm going to break each of these games down. So first off, starting off with the wins, I got Bowling Green, I got Pitt, I got Tennessee Tech, I got South Alabama, and I got Vanderbilt. Those are all the guaranteed wins. Games that I'm pretty much 90-plus win confidence in Tennessee, except the Pitt one. The Pitt one was really on the fence for me because I don't know the most about Pitt. They had a decent season last season. I think the best team that they beat was Louisville. But I think Tennessee, you're going to Neyland Stadium. I think Tennessee should have this game. I'm going to mark it down as an automatic win in my opinion. Some people might feel otherwise just because Tennessee didn't do that good last season, but I really would be shocked if Tennessee does not beat Pitt at home. Going into the toss-up games, I got Missouri, I got South Carolina, I got Ole Miss, I got Kentucky, and then that's it. I think Missouri, I take Missouri favored. South Carolina, I have no clue because those are two really struggling programs for Tennessee, both going through coaching changes and everything. It's tough to call. It's really, really tough to call. So I'm going to go 50-50 on that. Now, you might be like, oh, no, you're biased because you're a South Carolina fan. That's why you're saying it's 50-50. Whatever. You can think what you want to think. Ole Miss, definitely taking Ole Miss favored there, but I do not want to call it a win, an automatic win. If this game was in Ole Miss, I would call it a win, but the fact that it's in Tennessee, I'm going to give probably a 65 win confidence for Ole Miss and a 35 for Tennessee. And then you look at the last game at Kentucky, at Kroger Field. Kentucky had Tennessee's number last year. I don't think Kentucky's a good, really, really good team either. They're a team that I'm a bit hard on. So this game, again, I'm just going to go 50-50, honestly, because even though Tennessee had a bad year last year and Kentucky kicked them, I still really, really cannot tell who's going to win this game because those are just two teams that are really up and down and that you can never call. And then I have 3 automatic losses for Tennessee this season: at Florida, at Alabama, and then at home versus Georgia. At Florida is definitely the most winnable game out of all of these. Florida is taking a huge step back this season, in my opinion, even though a lot of Florida fans will say otherwise. They're taking a huge step back, especially offensively. You go to Florida, yes, it's going to be a bit tough, but I think Florida is definitely the most beatable team out of all those win teams. Alabama, I have them outright winning the SEC this year. You go to Alabama, it's going to be way too hard for this Tennessee team with a first-year head coach in Tennessee. It's not going to happen. Like, Alabama's really, really good this season. I will truly be shocked if Tennessee wins that game. And then Georgia also is going to be a really, really good football team. You got JT Daniels. You got some experience in the backfield with Zamir White. You got George Pickens at wide receiver. The offense, in my opinion, is going to be really good. Defensively, they're going to be really good. Georgia is looking like a really, really good football team. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, and then we'll go realistic, and then I'll also do everything. Every time I do best case scenario, we'll do punching through the ceiling. So best case scenario for Tennessee, I'll go 8-4, and then punching through the ceiling is 9-3. 9-3 is if you win all the toss-ups, you win all your wins, and then you steal one of the wins from Florida. I feel like if Tennessee's really feeling themselves, they go I got that wrong. It would be 10-2. 10-2, sorry. No. Hold on. Here. Let me do my math again. Okay, sorry. I can't count, obviously. Best case scenario for Tennessee, I'd go 9-3. You take all your toss-ups and you take all your wins, and then punching through the ceiling is 10-2, where you steal a win from Florida. If Tennessee's really feeling themselves, they steal a win from Florida, but they still lose to Georgia and Alabama. Worst case scenario for Tennessee, I see 4-8. You beat Bowling Green, you beat Tennessee Tech, you beat South Alabama, and you beat Vanderbilt. You lose to Pitt, you lose all your toss-ups, and you lose all your losses. And then realistic for Tennessee. Oh, I don't know. That's tough to call. I'm going to say like 6-6. 6-6. I really didn't. I say you take your 5 wins, you take one of your toss-ups, or maybe even 2. I'm going to go 6-6, 7-5. 6-6, 7-5 for realistic. You take all 5 of your wins. You take 2 toss-ups probably. If I'd have to make an educated guess, you're going to take Kentucky and South Carolina. And then you lose Missouri, you lose Ole Miss, and you lose all your losses. And you make a bowl game. You make it to a bowl game for Tennessee. No complaints there, especially through a whole coaching change and through everything that's gone on with the program, with the McDonald's bags and everything. I know it's insane. But that is my video for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you liked the video, definitely go do me a favor. Hit a like button down below. Drop below in the comment section your opinions on this. Because again, I'm just an outsider looking in. I'm not a Tennessee fan. I don't know as much as you guys do. I just want, this video is purely for the interest of you guys to see how the rest of fan bases or whatever see your team looking inside. So let me know in the comments what you think about this. And thank you guys so much for watching, and definitely come back next time.